Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols were convicted, but there has always been a question about a possible third suspect.
The witnesses say they saw several accomplices, including the infamous John Doe number 2. ATF officials tell us the elusive John Doe is still part of this case, but will not comment any further.
Who is John Doe number 2, and where is he? Employees at the truck rental business in Kansas also helped with a sketch of a man who they say was with McVeigh. Authorities made a second, then a third sketch of John Doe 2 with a ball cap based on a description from an Oklahoma City man who says he gave McVeigh and John Doe 2 directions to Northwest 5th and Harvey, the Murrah building, 30 minutes before the bombing. So he pulls up and, gets out of the truck?
No, he pulls up and I go up to the truck. I went to see what he needed. He said he was kind of lost a little bit. He said he was looking for 5th and Harvey, was the words he gave me. He did not distinct a building, the Murrah building or nothing like that. He just asked me where direction of 5th and Harvey was. I kind of tried to explain it to him verbally, and he could seem a little confused by the way I was explaining it to him. So at that time, he got out of the truck, and I kind of walked him about 3 or 4 feet from where we were standing and pointed it out to him, the direction where it was.
However, they did tell us that there's a lot about this case we don't know yet, information you can't find in the indictments against Timothy McVeigh, Terry Nichols.
The first man is of medium build, with a light brown crew cut, and he is right-handed.
McVeigh is identified as the mystery man John Doe 1 and arrested.
The second man is also medium build. He's further described as 5 feet 9 inches to 5 feet 10 inches tall, with brown hair and a tattoo visible on his left arm.
What happens next is a conspiracist's dream.
John Doe number 2 remains at large. He should be considered armed and extremely dangerous.
But 2 months later, the FBI calls off the search. The official line is, John Doe 2 doesn't exist.
This particular document right here is 50 pages long, and it records of telephone conversations and interviews with Terry Nichols, claiming there was a third person involved. A man looking like this. Rick says the sketch stemmed from this body shop in Kansas, where Timothy McVeigh rented the now infamous Ryder truck. Rick says at the time, the people working in the shop thought there was someone else with Timothy McVeigh. But in these just released court documents, Terry Nichols says otherwise. FBI agents say in 2005, Nichols told them, quote, he knew the identity of John Doe number 2, but refused to reveal it. Nichols told investigators, quote, he feared for his and his family's well-being. In a later interview, Nichols told a congressman, quote, that clearly someone else was involved renting the Ryder truck. And it's that statement Timothy McVeigh's attorney agrees with.
If you take Tim McVeigh's words at face value and you take the words of the other 3 employees at Elliott's body shop, there is another person present.
Stephen Jones says even McVeigh told him someone else was involved, but the name.
So do you have a name for that person who was with Timothy McVeigh?
At what point?
At the store, at the body shop.
I don't. I think I know why the person was there, but I don't have a name.
Police were told by a witness that he saw at least 2 men in blue jumpsuits running away from a minivan outside the courthouse just before the blast. The witness told investigators the 2 men fled in a brown pickup truck.
Representative Charles Key produced a videotape featuring witnesses who claim to have seen Timothy McVeigh with another man the morning of the bombing.
He was wearing a ball cap. Timothy McVeigh had his on backwards, which is just like this. It was on his head. The other gentleman had his on like this.
In fact, the FBI had actively pursued John Doe number 2 in its initial investigation.
Because I sat there and I seen McVeigh was with another person.
Do you have any doubt in your mind that there was a passenger in the Ryder truck?
That's even more. I have no doubt there was definitely a second person, no matter what. There was 2 people in this vehicle.
The John Doe number 2, and there was a $2 million price put on his head, and now they're saying there's no John Doe number 2.
In the building, and I looked out the window, and I seen the Ryder's truck, and I seen a man get out of the Ryder's truck.
She was just 10 feet away from the man depicted in this sketch when he stepped out of the Ryder truck.
He was olive complexion, and he was He had black curly hair. He was wearing the baseball cap, but his curls were sticking out of his head. It was short in the back, but you could still see the curls in his hair. He was not American. He was foreign. You can tell by his skin, his face, the way his face was.
We asked FBI Dan Vogel if John Doe number 2 is still part of the investigation. Does he exist? The answer, yes. The FBI is still trying to locate and identify John Doe number 2.
The person in the truck looked to more be of a Caucasian, Middle Eastern, was not an African American, he was not a real light complected, he was not blonde hair, light skinned. He, at that time, like I said, they didn't stay very much longer. They really didn't acknowledge me so much. They didn't really seem that they were that concerned. They didn't seem nervous. They seemed to be more lost.
We know there were 24 people that were interviewed by the FBI that said they saw Mr. McVeigh on April 19th with someone else, and they had no reason to make it up. They didn't have a dog in that fight. They didn't have any reason to make something up. They told the agents exactly what they saw, and the agents wrote it down. If only one person had seen it, or 2 or 3, but 24 people say, yes, I saw him with somebody else. That's pretty powerful.